today's Facebook Live. I'm your host, Brittany Bird, and I'm here with Haley. And today we're going to talk about the savvy strategy that she uses to spend more time with her daughter. Before we get started, I'd like you to say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're joining from. And then also, we're going to be giving away some free books at the end of today's live lesson. And all you have to do to win one of those free books is to let us know in the comments your number one takeaway from today's live lesson. So, Haley, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, how are you?
We're really excited to have you. Now, if you want to let the viewers know a little bit about you and your backstory, and I have to say, for those of you that are watching, I am super excited to share Haley with you guys because her story is one that I hear so freaking often from so many women. So, Haley, tell us about yourself.
All right, so I guess I'll start. I started my personal training business in 2015. While I was working at a physical therapy clinic, I was just doing personal training on the side, just like for people who are like past patients. And I had a baby in the beginning of 2018, and money and just like maternity leave was super stressful for me. So I was able to take about 6 weeks of paid maternity leave before I had to go on short-term disability, which I wasn't capable of doing financially because my paycheck would not have been enough to sustain everything. Plus me not being able to train in person for at least 4 to 6 weeks that I was recovering from having a baby. Really took a hit to my financial situation, and plus I just didn't really want to leave my baby and give her to a stranger or even a friend. I mean, I was still trying to figure out just my life as a mom. And so me trying to still train clients in person the same amount as I was before I had a baby was super stressful.
Oh,
yeah, it was the worst time of the day is the 2 hours before and after, me trying to train clients, because it was me trying to find a babysitter or hoping my husband would be done with work on time, and making sure that my sitter was reliable enough, and if they weren't, then I couldn't train. I did lose all that income if I had to cancel. And so it was just a whole mess of me just trying to figure out how to train while still having a baby. And it was just really, really difficult.
Wow. And I imagine there's so many other women that have been in the exact same situation. And like what I was mentioning before we went live, I personally know several women that when they were, 4 weeks, 6 weeks after having their baby, they were bringing their baby into the gym to train with them because there literally was, no other option. Because, fortunately for you, you had a babysitter, sometimes, and then your spouse. But you had said also there too that there were times that with your husband, you guys were almost working opposite shifts so that you could watch your daughter, right? That must have been hard on both of you.
Yeah, I mean, it was super hard because, taking care of a newborn baby by yourself is really hard in and of itself. And then just kind of we were just two ships passing in the night, just I'd give her to my husband, and then, he would basically be in bed by the time I got home, and he'd wake up early and go to work before I was awake. And so we would see each other for maybe 30 minutes a day. Which was
Wow.
really taking a toll on our marriage and just our relationship. And plus we're still trying to get to know this new person in our family, and we're just it just created a very difficult dynamic.
Oh, I can imagine, because when you think of working split shifts without throwing a baby into the mix, that alone can be extremely stressful in a relationship. And then you're adding in a newborn and trying to figure out how that's going to work with your family, and then also having to know that for income that you have to work. Like you were mentioning that you had contacted your clients because like you needed to go back to work. You didn't have the option, and your clients had said, we weren't planning on waiting, like coming back for like another 4 to 6 weeks, and you were kind of like, no, like I need to go back to work. Like, tell us a little bit about that. That you had mentioned there, like that you didn't feel physically ready to go back, but you had to.
No, like, so I had like a very difficult labor. And I had, right after I had the baby too, I had to have like a surgery to repair a hernia that I had during the pregnancy. So after 6 weeks of having a baby, I had a surgery to, so like I was like out of like commission for like probably like 8 to 10 weeks, like not feeling physically good.
Wow.
So like I had gotten the, I remember I got the hernia surgery like 6 weeks after having a baby, which by the way is not a good idea. I don't recommend that to anyone.
Ah,
I don't know why the doctor said that was okay, but whatever.
jeez.
um, but yeah, so like I had gotten this hernia surgery and I like felt terrible. Like I couldn't stand up very well. I couldn't like bend over. Like I couldn't like squat. Like I couldn't show my clients anything to do, but I had to be at the gym. So I was basically like, I mean, I just got my like whiteboard out and I was like, I just put stuff down that I knew that they knew how to do, even though I knew it wasn't the workout that they needed. And so like just me feeling like my workouts were like suffering and like just like my clients like being like, are you okay? Like, are you sure that you should be doing this? Like them being genuinely concerned for me, like I think also was like stressful and like awkward too, because they're just like genuinely concerned that like I'm pushing myself way too hard. And then they kind of like feel like, that their quality isn't as good of, that kind of experience that they need. And so yeah, it was just like super not smart.
Well, but you do what you have to do, right?
Like
So,
we were like so pressed for money because I mean like the amount of money we had to spend on the hospital bills and like I mean as soon as you have that baby, like before you even leave the hospital, like they were like asking, how are you going to pay for this? And we're like, good
wow,
question, I don't know. um
wow.
and so like once reality started to set in of like, okay, we have like a few $1,000s worth of medical bills and hospital bills, plus I had the surgery bills and like everything, and like I can't work because of all of these things that, it's like I was just freaking out. Like, I mean, I was like, how am I supposed to pay all these bills back? And I can't like walk.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what you like, how you make your living, right? You show up to the gym, you train clients, and if you're incapable of doing that, demoing them, like you said, you're kind of in a really tough situation. So, what made you decide? Like, what was kind of that moment where you were like, I need to find a better way?
I think the point is like, I think there was one day like when I was dropping my daughter off at the gym or dropping my daughter off to go to the gym. And it was like one of those days where my husband thought he was going to get home on time, but he didn't. And so like I'm scrambling to like find a babysitter and I like called like 3 people and like none of them were available. And it was like, I'm like, this is also I can make, just like $30 an hour or whatever my take home pay after rent and everything was, or whatever. I don't even remember what the take home pay was, but it was like, this is not worth $30. This is not worth it. Like, I cannot like get this much stress and like the amount of prep time for me to like get a sitter and like pick her up. And it's just like, this is not worth it.
Hmm. Absolutely. I totally have had those days when I used to teach boot camps, and I'd spend 45 minutes loading up my vehicle with all the equipment. Then you have like 30 minutes to drive there, and two people show up, and you're like, man, I did all of that work for it ended up taking 2, 3 hours for an hour's worth of work. And you're like, so I basically just made $11 an hour. Cool. Like that was totally worth it. And I always joke, I'm like, I could be a greeter at Walmart and be less stressed and happier and be making more money than what I'm doing right now. Basically killing yourself
Mhm.
to make money, right? But it's what we love to do. We feel drawn to it. So we have such a hard time, like, especially when we know we're not doing our best. I think that that also affects us too, because the quality of what your clients are used to, and you
Mhm.
want to be able to give them that. But it sounds like you were being pulled in so many directions, like that something just had to give. So let's look at kind of like where you're at now. So what would you say your biggest takeaway was that you have learned so far?
So the biggest takeaway from the course was by far like the dream week and figuring out how to schedule my time and how to make sure that I'm doing activities that are actually worth my time and that I'm actually getting the bang for my time. And so like I just kind of cut all those like stupid, like not helpful activities out of my schedule and I just made them like a non-factor. And so I know that the things that I'm doing now are going to help grow my business and help me become like a happier person. And so the things that I do during the day is like super intentional. And I
Mhm.
just make sure that the things that I put on my schedule are the things that I know that I need to do. And the things that don't like give me the benefit that I need, they get kicked out real fast. And so just plus like, just figuring out a new schedule like as a new mom is like really insane too. So I think the transition of like having the new mom lifestyle and trying to figure out how to like manage my time so like I'm actually doing everything that I need to do. It was like that was exactly what I needed. Like it was totally worth the whole course just to like have that like lesson.
Hey, real quick, I know you're into this episode, but I wanted to let you know that if you want to get started with online coaching, then I have a free gift for you. It's a free 3-day course, and in it, you'll learn the core truths guaranteed to get you online fitness clients. You can register with your email at onlinetrainer.com/intro, or if you're in the United States, simply text PTDC to 444999. Thanks, now back to the show.
So, okay, because there's lots of people watching, what would you say things like that you were spending time doing before that you thought that they had value, that they were adding value to your business, that when you read about the dream week, you were kind of like, that's got to go. Like, what were some of
Mhm.
those things that people might be doing right now that they don't recognize that it's kind of, they don't need to be doing it?
I think it's just because my focus was so like everywhere. It's like, okay, I need to like have a YouTube channel and my Instagram needs to have like thousands of followers and I need to like make sure I do Facebook Live and I have like a blog and like I just had like all of these like different things and like none of them were making any progress. It's like
So it sounds like, how many people watching have heard this from a client, right? I need to drink more water. I need to do cardio. I need to meal prep. I need to go gluten free. I need to go sugar free. Like, we do it to ourselves the exact same way, right? And I know that I have in the past had the same mindset because we see other people doing it, that and that persona, right? And like, you see, if our clients would see a fit person, but they don't realize that it might have taken them 10 years to get to that point,
Mhm.
or they have, and they have those habits down. And when a lot of us start out as coaches, we feel the same. We need to go from 0 to 100 right away, right? But we know coaching our clients, that that's not how we coach our clients, and that's not how we get them success. So, what are the things now that you are super intentional about? Like, how do you structure your week to make sure? And how do you know? I'll ask that, but then my next question is going to be: how do you know what you should keep and what you should cut away?
So I wake up like I try to wake up every morning at 6 a.m. now. I try to make sure that I spend the first part of my day meditating and getting my mind right. And then I just do some like spiritual study and like just kind of do, prayer or whatever like I feel like I need. And then I start working on like my 3-a-day goals. I think John talks about that a lot.
So, okay, so for those that are watching that don't know about the 3-a-day goals, do you want to explain this?
I would love to, yeah. So basically, like the night before, I will write down 3 things that like I need to do the next day. And first of all, it's super helpful to do it the night before because it helps shut my mind off when I'm in bed and I don't have to think about like the 10,000 things that I should be doing. And so I write down my 3 things that I like want to accomplish the next day. And then, I just focus on those 3 things only. Like anything else besides those 3 things is a distractor.
Okay, I like that. Very good.
And so, yeah, I'll wake up and then I'll start working on like my 3-a-day goals. And then whenever my daughter wakes up, then we just start working on like whatever she needs. And then like we have time to go to the gym now and like get my own workout in. And like there's things like I've cut out for sure, like trying to make sure I write this amount of emails a week or make sure I follow up with this person or that. And it's like a lot of those things that I try, and if I do them for, 6 weeks or even like, a couple months and like it's not getting me the results I want, that's when I like trade it out for something else.
Okay. So what are something that you had in your schedule that you thought was giving you value that you've recently cut out?
I think just like my scattered focus, like I just kind of like stopped working like on my YouTube channel because I was like, I need to focus on like Facebook and like Instagram or, whatever. And like, so like those were the things I was like, okay, I'm not going to make a YouTube video because it's going to make me not work on these things.
Okay, that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
And I've heard a really good expression that, when you say yes to one thing, it means you're actually saying no to something else. So if you're saying yes to perfecting your graphics for or learning how to use a program to make a YouTube video, it means you're saying no to essentially posting on Facebook. That's something that's so much easier, quicker, to be able to get clients. So that's a really great point for everyone watching. Very, very good.
I would say that because it's like, in the dream week, it's such like a visual thing, like putting it on your Google Calendar. And it's like when I schedule something, like it's like that total comparison of like, okay, if I schedule this thing in this slot, that means I won't be able to do this thing that I already have in there. And so it's like if I put this, meeting at this time, then I won't have time to work on, my whatever, like my workouts for my clients. Like I'll have to shift that into some other slot and then I'll have to take that time away from something else. So it's like really puts like a real value to your time and it shows you like what you're really trading off every time you say yes to something.
Now, so every day you plan those 3 things. Do you do kind of like a monthly overview of things that you know that you need to do for the month and then you pull them into the 3 days, or is it just as the day rolls out?
It's usually like as the day kind of comes and goes. Like sometimes my 3-day goals are totally not related to my business. Sometimes it's just like, hey, I need to make sure like I go and like meal prep and do my like grocery shopping, like and so like, stuff like that where there's definitely like if there's something that's been on my 3-day goal list that hasn't been done for like a few days, like that definitely gets pushed to the top.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's definitely kind of like a system where it's like, okay, I kind of have like a larger picture in my head, but I don't necessarily write it out. I'm like, okay, I really want to work on getting, however many Instagram posts up at like at this time or whatever. And then if I'm like been doing that, and I just try to make sure like I make time for that type of activity in my goals. If that
Okay.
makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you pre-schedule like your Facebook or your Instagram posts, or do you write them?
So that's kind of like what I try to do right now. I actually just did a bunch of them this morning. So like in my Facebook group, I just made all my 7 posts for the week, and then I'll check it for like 20 minutes at the end of the day and respond to comments and whatever, and then like I'm done with it for the day. So I
That's
just
awesome.
like I have to go like on and off of it like every time like there's someone comments or posts or whatever. I don't feel drawn in to like do it every second like that it happens.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point. And for those of you that have been watching over that watched last week, this is something that every single trainer, every single coach that we've brought on has mentioned that they're pre-scheduling their posts. And Haley, you bring up a very valid point that people always think that that they have to be on Facebook all the time. But do you set expectations for your clients so that they know when to expect to kind of hear back from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we have like not after 9 p.m. policy, and it's like, hey, if you text me at this time, like I probably won't respond. Like, your emergency is not my emergency. So like
Yes. Yeah.
so it's
So,
yeah, for sure.
how do you find your clients have responded to the no after nine policy?
Oh, like I think it was John, and I think I read it in some other places, but it's like the kind of clients that you attract are the ones that you create, like the ones that like if I'm gonna like be everything to everyone all the time, like I'm gonna attract more people like that. But
Yes.
if I set standards, it's like, okay, like I only answer emails at noon on Wednesday and on Sundays after 2 o'clock or whatever,
Yeah.
then they're like going to be a little bit more intentional and focused about the things that they say, and they're not going to like you know be very needy. Like they're just, I mean, I've kind of like created like independent clients, which is good. I mean, they like know what they need from me, and they know what they can give them. So like I totally, yeah, it's totally worth it to like set standards and guidelines and rules and like enforce them and make sure that you like don't just say it, do it.
Well, and that brings up a really good point because, and it's kind of like in any aspect of our life, we teach people how we want to be treated. So if we say, no messages after 9 p.m., but we answer them after 9 p.m., we're kind of saying that our rules aren't really rules. So that's really good that you are aware of that. And that's something really valuable for a lot of people because I think a lot of trainers are scared to put like those policies and those expectations out to people. But like you just said, it actually helps your clients because they will have to take ownership and initiative to try to like solve the problem themselves before they're going to reach out to you necessarily.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So, Haley, as we wrap this up, do you have any final tips or comments that you'd like to give those that are out there watching?
Like if you are in that kind of situation where you just feel like you're like spinning a hamster wheel and you like don't know like what you're doing wrong or like how to even do anything, like that's like the position I was in. I was like, I just felt like I didn't know what activities were worth my time and worth my focus. And so like after taking the course, I was able to like cut out all of like the not helpful activities and like all the things that weren't helping me. And so like if you just need focus and you need something to like really structure your business, and this course will definitely give you that.
Amazing. That's awesome. Well, Haley, on behalf of the Personal Trainer Development Center, I want to thank you for your time today. And for those of you watching, we want to thank you as well. Don't forget to leave your number one takeaway in the comments for your chance to get a free copy of either Ignite the Fire or the Highly Wealthy Online Trainer box set. And if you want to have a similar success as Haley, you're going to want to check out this new mini course from Jonathan Goodman. that it's going to give you the blueprint you need for the next stage in your career. So if you're in the US, all you have to do is text PTDC to 444-999, or alternatively, you can go to the ptdc.com/intro. And not to worry, we'll put the link in the comments because I say it every time. It's totally impossible. So I want to thank you guys for watching. You can join us again tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to have another guest on to share their number one takeaway with you. So we'll see you guys again next time. Bye.